Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be doing easy Halloween doodles. So grab your micron pens and your watercolors and let's get started. I am starting out with my micron pen, which I love. It's waterproof. Once you let it dry for just a few minutes, the water is not going to smear it. And I am just freehanding in some pumpkins with cute little heart-shaped leaves and a witch's hat, which is pretty simple, little triangle on a flattened pancake with a little belt buckle. I put a little spider hanging off of there. And these micron, I think they're Sakura micron pens, are wonderful. They come in all different colors, but they're really great for pen and ink, pen and watercolor wash. So I put down a little ghost and a few little leaves, and we're doing a cauldron, which is a little circle, kind of like a coffee cup with ears and three little legs and some flames coming out of the top. A candle with kind of like an iron base and a flame on top. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have my Halloween nail polish, my cat eyes, which I do every year. I love getting those done. I'm throwing in some candy corns. Not that I like them. I do not like eating candy corns, but they're simple. A little triangle with three lines. Throw in a piece of nondescript candy, and then a bat. And the bat, I'm just coloring in with the micron pen. I don't want to go to the trouble of painting that in. And I did the ghost eyes. So that's it. Just a fun, quick end of the season doodle. It's almost Halloween in a couple of days. These little doodles are great for if you have a journal, journaling. You could do them individually on little cards, but doodling just kind of brings out a nice creative feeling with not a lot of pressure, for a finished, beautiful composition piece. So I started out with just some light yellow, and I'm going in with a darker orange. And this pumpkin I did very wet. The whole thing's dry. It's wet on dry. But then when I put the darker color in, it's wet on wet. The second pumpkin that I'm doing, I went in with a little bit more pigment and less water. It's not as soaked as the first pumpkin was. And then I'm going in with much less water and some stronger pigment to show you how, it's really all about the water when you're painting in watercolor. The one on the left has some great crazy color going everywhere, and the one on the right much less saturated. So I'm left-handed. I always drag my hand across the paper. So there's a little bit of orange down there by the bat, but then I'm just going in with some yellow on the leaves and then going around, dropping in some green and then an olive green in the middle. I like to throw a few different colors in there, and I'll go over it again at the end. And then some cute fall leaves, just some yellow, plain cad yellow light with some cad yellow red dropped in around the perimeter. And I'm just going to leave that. The leaves you can be so free flowing with, it's hard to make a bad fall leaf when you start dropping in colors. Now I'm going in with just a black, ivory black on my cauldron, and it was a little watered down for the first layer, and I'm dropping in immediately after some darker shadowy black areas and going around the handles, and it's just kind of like a 3/4 shadow And then I'm dropping in a little bit of black to make it look kind of hand hammered, but I'm not crazy about that, so I kind of wiped it out a little. And I'm going in with some purple flames, some deep violet, and then I'm going in with some green because it's a witch's cauldron. So I mixed up just some basic green with some lemon yellow, sap green with lemon yellow. And then on the left side, I went in with just some pure cad yellow. And I thought it gave a nice, pretty effect with the flames coming out of there. And then next, you're just going to grab some orange and some yellow. And the first one I did the orange and yellow, and then I didn't want to be too precious with it. So the next candy corns, I'm doing the yellow, and I'm going to let it dry, and then I'll drop in the orange so I don't have to worry about them bleeding into each other. And then we're doing some sap green into the stems. I was going to say the trunks, the stems of the pumpkins, and just lightly putting in some veins. It's still a little wet. I didn't want them to be too. I wanted them to blend a little bit, so I put it in while it was wet. And then the hat is just like the cauldron. You go in with some ivory black and come back in. I'm going to put some purple, like purple velvet for the little sash that goes around the hat. Sorry, my words aren't coming today. And then I'm dropping in some more ivory black, just in some shaded areas. Sorry, my daughter is coughing in the background. We're all having little colds here. And then I'm going around the bottom with a little bit more black and putting in a few wrinkles. Very simple. The iron bottom to the candle, I just mixed a little bit of burnt umber and a little bit of black to darken it down a little. And then I put some yellow in the candle and put some yellow around it, which I might have liked elsewhere, but I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. I'm going to let it dry a little bit. And then for the ghost, instead of it just being white on white paper, you can go in with the lightest wash of purple or blue or something to give it a little bit of shape. And then I'm dropping in a little bit more purple and just keeping it very, very light and diluted. And it's kind of, it was bugging me the way it wasn't running the way I wanted it to. So you can go in with the paper towel and blot it. And he's just got kind of like a little bit of color in there. And then some pure cad yellow in the moon with a little darker yellow around the bottom of it. And the next moon, the next leaf, we're going to do a burnt sienna and then just go in with more burnt sienna. And then the candy is purple and a little more purple in my ghost. And we're getting close to done. We're going to go back in one more time. We're going to finish the orange on the candy corns. And I'm doing all of this with a number 6 Princeton Heritage brush. It's nice and springy and firm and not real floppy. So it's good to do. I could do this whole painting and not have to switch my brush. Now I'm trying to kind of blend out the yellow. I'm not thrilled with it, but I've got some gold and some silver pens that I'm using on this. And we're just going to fill in like the buckle on the witch's hat. And but first we're going to go in and you can see how lightly these pumpkins dried. And I like the texture that's on the one pumpkin, but we're going to go in just in the areas where I want it deepened up. And you're going to put in a little bit of either your burnt sienna or a darker reddish orange. And I put it along all the right hand lines of the pumpkin and dip your brush, rinse off the color, dry it with a paper towel, and then just kind of drag it out into the rest of the pumpkin section. It's, pumpkins, you have a lot of latitude here to play around with it and keep adding darker colors. I'm going to throw some yellow in to brighten up the top a little bit. I'm always amazed at how much lighter some of these colors or most of these colors dry. They say it's 2 full shades. So we're going to come back in and layer another beautiful layer of red over that and just kind of pull it up a little bit with your brush. And then we're coming in to do the other pumpkin because you can see it's just flattened out as it dries. The color disappears. I could even, if I wanted to, after this dries, go in with a 3rd layer or a 4th layer. That's the beauty of watercolors, is the more layers you add, the more beautiful it gets. You could even go in at the bottom with a little bit of purple or a blue to kind of really deepen that shadow. But I'm staying with warm colors for the most part in this painting and just wanted to use a very limited palette. So see, drop that deep dark red in there, pull it up a little bit with your brush, and I'm patting off the pigment in between so I'm not putting it all over the place on the top. And just kind of blending that a little bit and a little more. And I'm much happier with the pumpkins after I went in with a 2nd layer of color. And a little more color. Can never have too much color on these pumpkins. A little more red in there. And again, if yours dry too light, go over them again. Go in with another layer of color after they've dried enough so they don't bloom weirdly. Now I went in with gold for the buckle on the witch's hat and then added a little more purple. The purple had dried a little too light. And now the background is just looking a little empty to me. So I'm going in, I started out with some weird funny shaped stars. And then since I love the tip of this pen is the perfect shape to just dot circles on there. I'm putting some silver on the candy, brightening up that wrapper a little bit. And then I thought the white candle looked a little plain next to the ghost. So I made it a silver candle and a little bit of gold on the candle holder. And back in with the candle. And then silver around the top of the cauldron, even though it probably should be black. I don't know. And then I just started doing a few little cute stars around these and polka dots. And it's just simple. And then, because I love glittery pens and metallic, I'm going in and doing the veins on the leaves. And then around the leaves because I love metallic. And then just gold dots. I don't know. I think the dots in this case just made it look so much better when I was done with it. I was happier with the finished doodle piece with dots in there. And going over the stems with a little bit of gold. You can add as much metallic as you want or as little. And then I kind of, because I really didn't like that circle around the candle, I don't know why it was bugging me so much, but I went around it with the gold pen and then it didn't jump out at me as much. And then just look for any spaces that don't have polka dots. If you sit back and look, you'll see, oh, they're not under the ghost, or oh, they're not over here. I forgot some at the top. And just go in and dot with your gold pen. And that's it. It was a lot of fun. I will put a free digital download on my Stan store where you can print this out and trace it and paint it yourself. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you had fun and have a happy Halloween.